People in Atlantic Canada could be at risk of losing a major source of local news. SaltWire Network has filed for creditor protection. This is a company that owns very significant local papers like the Chronicle, Herald in Halifax, the Cape Breton Post, just to name a few, pretty close to 24. Also some regional papers. It's the main player in local news for Atlantic Canada. And Brett Ruskin is in Halifax with the details about the financial situation in which this company finds itself. Brett, good morning.
Good morning, Heather. Not a good financial situation, unfortunately. So I'm going to talk about some big numbers, but in the back of your mind, just remember that there's big numbers, but there's small communities that are affected by this, because this company, SaltWire Network, really does provide, in some cases, the only source of local news to those communities. We'll get to that in just a moment, but let's talk about the numbers. I'm standing here outside the Chronicle Herald headquarters, the headquarters for SaltWire Network as well, looking at $94 million in debt and $33 million in assets. So that basic tally chart just doesn't add up financially. So the company has applied for creditor protection from the various loans that it has, the various debts that it has. It owes Canada Revenue Agency money. It owes the pension plan money. It's missed payments for former employees for their pension payments, as well it owes private equity firms, private financial firms money from loans that were provided to them. Now, speaking of those employees, the company has nearly 500 employees, more than 800 contractors who work for the company as well, that provide content and manage 24 either daily or weekly regional newspapers all throughout Atlantic Canada. They, again, not only provide the news of the day, but also they provide really that heart of information for a community. For example, you may have heard in the last few months, the obituaries that were recently placed behind a paywall. That created just an uproar in many communities, with people not being able to have this kind of basic information about births and deaths in their community, to such a degree that the P.E.I. premier said that he would consider paying for the service so that community members, that islanders could have that information. So a key part, information for communities. We spoke with Stephen Kimber. He is a journalism professor as well as a veteran journalist here in Atlantic Canada, talking about this decision, talking about the situation that SaltWire finds itself in. Here's what he had to say.
Without a real plan, which they don't seem to have had, I would say, yeah, I don't think they would have been in great shape anyway, just because of the state of the industry, but they're in awful shape now, and they have mostly only themselves to blame.
And so that's the situation facing SaltWire as it stands this morning. Heather.
So the impact of this could be very far-reaching, Brett. What does it mean for the future, yes, of the company, but also of its employees and the communities who rely on these papers?
A lot up in the air still, Heather. We don't know if papers will be closing. We don't know if there'll be cuts or layoffs. The company, in a statement, said that this is a necessary process, the best process for them to follow in order to ensure that they are vibrant and resilient in the future going forward. We'll have to wait and see what happens here, but certainly it is going to have some kind of an impact on local news access. We'll just have to wait and see how this court process and financial process shapes up. Heather.
Okay, Brett, thank you very much.